Hello, welcome back everyone to Foxboro's Fortress.
This is Foxboro's Fortress, your home for all the latest on the New England Revolution. Brought to you by Leading Lights, LLC.
Hello, welcome back everyone to Foxboro's Fortress, your home for all the latest on the New England Revolution. I'm Cecil Kenny, and no Raphael again today, but we got Cameron Benefit on the other side once again, so say hi, Cam.
What's up, everybody?
Disappointing St. Louis match to go over today, so we'll just kind of get into that one. And then we don't have a game next week, so we'll just talk about St. Louis for years and years, and then we'll cover the guys that got called up, and that'll kind of wrap it up. So thanks to Leading Lights LLC for sponsoring this episode. But for now, we'll get into them later. But for now, we'll see how we fell apart during that game. We started off pretty strong, I felt, with Eli's chance and then redeeming himself with the goal. And who else but Luca Langone? You had him in your team. You saw something coming. You had a few things that you knew were happening last week, and you're like, just watch. He's gonna have a good game. I don't understand how you pulled that one off. You said that about like 3 players, and they all managed to do something. So I need to start like quizzing you before game, like who's gonna have a good game. I need to start doing that. But then after that, it was kind of all downhill from there. Simon Becker, 29th minute goal with a Daniel Edelman assist. Yellow for Rafa Santos, 38th. Christopher Durkin, you also had him, 45 plus 3. The Rafa Santos assist. Brian Spiles, yellow. Mamadou Fofana, yellow. And I do want to talk on that for a second. Matt Doyle, previous to a little bit ago, he wrote an article like what each team needs ahead of the deadline. And he talked about, I'm not too high on their center backs, talking about the Revs. Wanted to get your thoughts on that. I know you're a Matt Doyle supporter, and who isn't at this point, but I'm not the biggest supporter of him. He's not a huge Yusuf fan, and he wasn't too keen on our center backs when Revs fans are pretty high on him. Both on yellows early in the second half. Is that cause for concern in the future?
I don't know. I feel like obviously that third goal, Ceballos. What are we doing? But you can't. There's no blame other than that. But I don't see it as a cause of concern. I feel like a lot of, I mean, center backs are the most prone players on the pitch to get a yellow. If we're gonna be honest, I mean they're gonna commit fouls outside the box and commit penalties in the box. And Ceballos is definitely a risky one when it comes to yellows. I think both these guys got a suspension last year because of yellows. Fofana pretty early in the season, but I don't think it's anything to be concerned about. I can see. I mean, I kind of agree. They're coming back into the team. I mean, they didn't play the first week of the year. They stepped in and were great against Red Bull, but I mean, it's sort of a critical guy, so I'm not too concerned about them now. But yeah,
Those Matt Doyle comments, I don't not agree. I do think we need at least one more center back on the team. I don't love that Tanner Beeson is the next guy up. And I'll kind of outline. We need a guy who's played solid minutes, who's not getting game time now. There is a guy I'm thinking of who I think I'll talk about closer to the deadline. We'll make a short form video on that for who we should sign. I've got 2 guys in mind that we need to sign. So keep an eye out for that video. But after those 2 yellows, Marcel Hartel with an absolute screamer from
yeah,
miles down the pitch. That's in contention for like goal of the year at this point? I've got no words for that. And then it was followed up by 2 yellows from Orozco and Berkey. And that concludes the match. We'll talk about 2 guys to outline here. Brooklyn Reigns and Brian Ceballos. Very poor games on both their parts.
Mm-hmm.
And this is starting to be a concerning pattern, in my opinion, for Brooklyn Reigns. We haven't seen him do really anything. And he's had 2-3 meh performances, and then he's had this terrible performance, really. He fell down in the first goal. Like, I got I got nothing really there. He hasn't shown what he can do. I haven't been impressed by him. And I could compare him to Alhassan Yusuf of last season. Um, in a way, like he was quiet, but you knew he was always going to be consistent. I haven't seen that consistency from Reigns in terms of like he's been decent, he's been serviceable. He hasn't been our defensive midfield with how many players we have at that position just haven't been it. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah, he had a tough game for sure. Kind of lost his man on the second goal. Obviously, got body on the first goal. Got to be strong in the midfield, but I don't know. I feel like his roles were a little weird last night. He kind of pushed up a lot in the offense, and that's not his role at all. I mean, I think I heard a stat that he had some of the lowest passes in the final third or advancing passes in the MLS last season. He's just not an offensive guy. And there's a lot of switching when it came to Yusef Polster and Reigns last night. We're just going around the midfield. I mean, Reigns would push up, Polster, Yusef would push back. But you just need to stay constant in that defending midfielder role, and then we'll be successful. I feel like, but it's definitely physicality is a problem. But I'm not again a little concerned, but um, we'll see how he fares the rest of the year. I mean, wouldn't be shocked to see you actually start a game. Unfortunately, if it comes down to it,
You know,
what's going on?
I would still be shocked to see Yule start a game because I haven't seen anything. I've
Me
seen
neither. Me neither. But if Marco's gonna rotate on how guys are playing, that's one of the rotations I feel like he would definitely make.
we're getting to that 10 match mark where Jacksonville is going to fall off a cliff, and we're never going to hear from him again for the next 20 games before he has to like sub it in the 88th minute because Yusuf goes.
Yeah, yeah.
We're getting to that point where Marcus is going to realize, wait a second now. Um, this guy hasn't been good. He's making a lot of money. We might just cut him. So who knows what's next there. I think our formation's been doing okay, but I think what's really like what should be done. We've been running a 4-2-3-1 from what I've seen. But I do think a change is still kind of necessary there. I think putting one defensive mid is still a prior. I think it's still the best move. Or
The midfield's getting dominated.
yeah, I don't. There's really no move that I can see that would fix our luck
Mhm.
because Holster hasn't been great. Reigns hasn't been great. Hughes has been playing on the wing, and he hasn't been incredible, but he's been serviceable. Like I don't love him playing on the wing. I've like
Yeah, Polster. A lot of people were hating on him last night. I thought he was fine. I didn't think he was like awful and terrible. Like everyone thought he should have gone off the pitch. He just played like one touch soccer. He would get the ball and release it very fast. He wouldn't take many touches, and I don't know if it really backfired in too many moments in the game. I guess, but I mean, it's just our midfield's getting beat up. Once we get past the midfield on the wings, it's acres of space, especially against St. Louis. And then St. Louis noticed that, and they switched to a five back in like the middle of the first half. Then they started. Then we had no more attack. It was after like the 25th, 30th minute, we had no more attack.
yeah, they started sitting back early, which just did
Then
not help our case at all.
then they break in the midfield, and then we'd be dominating the midfield. So not great.
It was not a good game. Like you can win ways. We just weren't good. We got outplayed by a poor St. Louis side. Um,
Yeah, they're not that good.
they're
They
not
really
that
are.
good, and clearly neither are we. Is what we just found out. We can see that Cincinnati barely scraped by with a 4-3 win over Montreal after losing, uh, after trailing, like, I want to say last I checked was 3-2, and then they came back. Uh, Miles Robinson with the red, he has had an awful, awful 2 weeks of time right now.
Yeah,
Dominated against from getting beaten up by the Revs, beaten up by
yeah,
Tigres, and then getting a red card. Like Miles Robinson has been abysmal. But we'll get into our one good, one bad. Um, I don't have many good things to say here, um, but I'll let Cameron go first so I can start my rant in a bit.
I mean, the attack looked a little better. Um, Looked fine. I guess first 30, then it kind of just died down. But we're just missing chances early, which is bad. But my bad. Um, I mean, set pieces probably really, really bad on set pieces. Um, and it's just yeah, I guess I want to say something a hot take, but I don't really want to be too. I don't really care. I kind of want to see Carlos Hill shoot the ball more.
That's
I
not
want
even.
to see.
I'm
I
not.
want to see. I want to see Carlos Hill shoot the ball. He's just dribbling around, playing around. I just want to see him shoot it. Just have a hit. Like I don't care.
I think he caught up now that MLS you get an Apple TV plus like subscription with it. I think he caught up on his Ted Lasso watching, and I'm pretty sure what happened.
Yeah,
He saw the Jamie Tart quote. Uh, he got to stop going through me and got to stop playing
they're going
through me.
through
You
him,
know what I mean? He
but
heard
they're
that
still
quote.
not playing. But they're still not playing through him.
No, they're still not playing through.
I want him to shoot the ball. Like he doesn't shoot enough.
He's on that like page, like, hey, they should be playing through me, and they shouldn't just be playing with me as a striker. They should be playing with me as a 10, because he is. I'm just using Jamie Tart as a reference here. That was a top pull for me there. Um,
Yeah.
and he just he's on the page like you gotta go through me, but no,
Mhm.
they still view him, and I think rightfully so, as the guy that they need to take the ball, have a few magical moments, and score and assist more. Like I haven't seen he's had himself a slower year to start. And I'm sounding like Raphael from last season.
Not
He
not even.
so yeah. Um yeah. I'll do my one good, one bad here. Luca Langoni, where do you come from? I'm very
Yeah.
happy. You're making me you came out of nowhere these last two matches. Ever since I said you gotta do something or else Diego Fagundez is gonna be your he's gonna overtake you. He has had 4 assists in 2 games since I said that.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of my comments there. I also said Campana's back, but then you also have ellipses. Pretty sure that's what that's called. But can't no no Campana is not back because he
Not
leaves after
back.
20 minutes. Due to you won't believe this here. Ready? Another injury. I'm done. Um, who wants to go back to the soccer dad quote from last week? Don't rush him back. And it wasn't even the same injury. It gets injured.
Ankle.
And so I don't think I like this dude. I gotta switch to the charger. I don't like Peter die. Um,
It's tough to control injuries, but he's just very fragile, and
yeah.
it's not good.
Thoughts on
I
bubble wrap? Thoughts on bubble wrapping players
Sure.
at this point?
Whatever prevents it.
Whatever works at this point. Um, some awful sub choices. We didn't talk about that enough. We haven't talked about awful. Like, and I'll kind of elaborate on that. Number one, Jacksonville. I don't love Jacksonville.
What they weren't early enough is the problem. They were bad,
Well,
but
you
they
also
also weren't.
it took George Bergman and he took Luca Langoni out way too early. They
Yeah, and
that one really annoyed me because you took out two of your best guys very early in like 60, 63, I think it was. And
yeah,
we get to see like I just don't love I want to pull up those subs, but I just
in
don't
that
love
moment,
the I don't love the subs that we made yesterday because it just wasn't they weren't good. Like we brought on, it was 59 that we brought him off. Yeah, we brought on Griffin Yao and we brought on Leo Campana. Leo Campana ends up
mhm,
leaving the pitch later. And doesn't he didn't do anything. Griffin Yao, he's also on the bad category because I didn't hear anything about Griffin Yao.
yeah, man.
I did. He was a ghost. You're a ghost. You're a ghost. You're a ghost. I'm gonna start doing this. I'm gonna sneak no Colin lyrics into podcast episodes. I did it last week. I just did it again. Um, what is that? Porch light. Let's keep going. Um, that's my one good. I keep finding ways to do this. But we underutilized Peyton Miller and Diego Fagundez. I say this because we had Peyton Miller playing fullback, and I wanted to see him more in a winger role, just like last week, where he scored a goal. Yes, we were already winning 4-5-1, but I would have liked to see him in the wing again. And Diego Fagundez, he kept having to come back and get the ball and then not be able to do anything with it because they were sitting so like deep. We couldn't. Their back line was not very helpful to us, and rightfully so. So that wasn't helpful. Ceballos had a meltdown at the back. I felt Sands, even with you picking him, was a bit shaky at times. He could have done
Yeah.
better. He wasn't. He wasn't there. Eli needs to finish that, and we should have had 4 in the first half, in my opinion. Um,
Yeah.
we had some great chances, like incredible chances in the first half. And we walk away from that with 1 goal, and then we walk away with the game with a loss. And then we already talked about referees. Like,
Yeah. I know it's game management, but I feel like if this best sub to make would have been Payton in for Sands in the first half. Or if you want to do what we did last game, you take out Yusuf on the wing, play Payton on the wing. I wouldn't mind either one. We just needed a spark in there from Miller. Too little, too late. But
I
I didn't
think,
really mind the Yao sub. I mean, I don't know. Turgeman didn't really get any chance in the second half. He was kind of just there. He got that one chance in the first half, and then that was kind of it. So,
yeah. So, but at least keep him in the game and give yourself a fighting chance with your number one striker up top. You bring Campana, and Campana has ended up coming out. And the guy you turn to when Campana gets injured is Jackson Ewell. That's another whole ball game there. Malcolm Fry's not even on the bench for this game.
oh
Uh,
yeah, he was.
your remaining subs were Keegan Hughes, Tanner Beeson, Ethan Kohler, and Jackson Ewell. Jackson Ewell is somehow the most attacking option out of that bunch, but that just goes to show that there is a problem here. And again, I'm going to talk about this in a short form video in a little bit, closer to the deadline, which is very, very soon. I believe should be soon. Maybe tomorrow. I don't know. Maybe the 24th. But we need we need another attacker because if Fagundes comes in and Peyton comes in, even if Peyton's a normal fullback, if they both come in and Capana comes off the bench and Griffin Yao comes off the bench, we don't have a fifth guy. And although that might seem excessive, when your striker who just subbed on goes down and all you have left is 3 defenders and a defensive midfielder and a goalkeeper, I think we start to see a problem here. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just not good there. And then just props to St. Louis. They did well and then they sat back and then Marcel Hartel sealed it with a godlike goal. I've never like that was just not much. You can't do anything there. Going to stats, I was surprised to see this. We won on possession, 52-48, and we won on XG, 1.2 to 1.1. I was talking with my dad about expected goals. It's kind of a really terrible stat, but it's really just like doesn't tell you a whole lot. And so I'm gonna stop making a huge deal of it because clearly, last game when we beat Cincinnati, uh, we had 2.24 expected goals. And we
Mm-hmm.
scored 6. In this game, St. Louis scored 1, or we scored 1. St. Louis scored 3, and we both had an expected goal around 1. So not a very helpful stat. We're kind of kicking it over to Five Side, brought to you by other side, Viking Sports MA. Cam, you want to go over your side? I will explain real quick. The captain rule. We introduced this last time out to try it out this time. Uh, the your captain gets +1 over everybody else. So we use if this isn't any of ours, but Ceballos, if he was a captain this week, he would have gone from 5 to a 6. So that's where we're at. Cam, take it away.
Roman Berkey, 7.2, Wilson, 6.2, Heel, 7 plus the captain, so that's another point. Langoni, 6.7 with an assist, and then Durkin with 8.1 with a goal, which averages at 7.24.
Yeah. We'll talk a little more. Sorry. How we doing, everybody? You having a fantastic evening or morning? How we doing? I'm just so excited to go 0-4 here. Uh, I myself,
Yeah.
Turner was my captain, 5.2 plus the one, so that was cool. Smiles with a 5, Yusuf with a 6.8. And I'll say everything like I did last season. Consistency. He's Mr. Consistent. He wasn't overly incredible yesterday, but he was consistent. That's the name of the game for him, I guess. Um, I also had Tershman, who left after 59 minutes, 6.3. And then I also had Hartel, who I should get like a +9 for that goal, in my opinion. But he ends with an 8.1. That averages out to a 6.5 or 6.48. Cameron, you become 2-0. I dropped to 0-4. Raphael's 2-0. Feeling elated. So
0-4, 0-4 in your own segment.
I play. I was with my cousin's fantasy football league this year. I think I won 2 games, and both of them were against my cousin. It's him and his friends, and then me. Yeah, uh, I'm not having the greatest year in terms of fantasy anything. Five aside, football. I auto drafted my fantasy basketball team, and I'm pretty sure that like might have 3 wins out of like the 17 games or whatever. I haven't paid attention to it. I'm not doing well. So
Crazy.
yeah. The computer, so basically I'll explain that. I've had it in, I haven't really explained it. It's a compilation of the compilation of the best players in the game for each position. So if one of us was to pick the best players in the game, this is what it would have looked like. You had Berkey with a 7.2. Santos had an assist. They have him set up in a 3-5, 2-1, I believe. But he's a right wing back, normally a right back, so he's going to defender with a 7.9. Excuse me there. Edelman 8.5, and I gave him the captain garband. How do you not finish that RSL? Watching that on the iPad. How do you miss that?
I got the madness on, so
Nice. Edelman, I gave him the armband as the captain for this one because he got the best score. Because that's if everything was to be perfectly the best, this is what the squad would look like. Uh, Becker with the goal, 7.9. And then Durkin or Hartel, pick your poison there, 8.1s for both. Squad finishes with an 8.12 and a full St. Louis squad there. So that's just terrific. Um, yeah,
yep.
again, I'm 0-4. You're 2-0. Raps 2-0. I gotta stop letting this happen. This is not okay.
When will you get your first one?
I don't know because it's not gonna be next week. But it could be if I pick the squad and then does well. That's a crazy. It goes past 3 and then it megs that duo, I think, and then it goes past the goal. Okay, cool. Cam, who's your man of the match? Your prediction was 2-0 Revs. That didn't happen. So who's your man of the match?
Um, I'm gonna go. Do I have to pick Revs?
You can do one. You can do one from each. An
Well,
overall.
I will. Well, I don't. I'll pick Revs, but I'll also pick one from St. Louis. I'll probably go with Durkin from St. Louis. I mean, got the goal, solid in the midfield. Um, but from the Revs, I mean, I'm gonna go tough. It. I'm gonna go. I'm just gonna go Feingold. He was fine. He was solid. I'm not mad at how he played. I know he got the goal. I know he missed the chance, but I'm fine with how he played.
Yeah. Um, I'll do 1-1. Um, I didn't feel like Edelman deserved man of the match according to FOMOB.
Yeah,
That didn't that's kind of surprised me.
yeah.
I have figured out that Becker just might be a pain in everything. He is the thorn in your side. He just seems like he's gonna get under your skin. You're gonna have to deal with it. Um, I'm gonna give man of the match to actually Santos, who got the yellow and the assist. I feel like I saw him every single time St. Louis had the ball. So I'm gonna give him man of the match for the overall game. He just had an underrated game and he had an assist. Not not too shocked with that one. Good for him. And then for the Revs, I like your fine gold pick.
Yeah,
Uh,
I mean,
Turner
basic,
didn't
but
Turner wasn't fantastic. Our back line wasn't fantastic. Feingold had the goal. Um, but Fofana and Ceballos and those guys didn't do great. Defensive midfield, definitely not going to any of them. Carlos Hill just didn't have an outstanding game. Uh, Striker, Tersman, whoever you want there, didn't do great. I'm gonna give it to Eli. Uh, he scored a goal. Actually, no, I'm gonna give it to Luca. I'm gonna give it to Luca this match again. He's managed to continue to actually he managed to get an assist this match and continues form with now 4 goals in 2 matches. 4 goals, no, 4 assists in 2 matches.
mhm.
With a quick resurgence after my comments were uh, Diego Fernandez is going to take his spot, which yeah, not too great. Um, I'll go over. We have one comment to go through, so uh, as always, I read out the full name. Give me a second now. Godson, in quotation marks. Goldie, Footy, Ep.8. You all know him. Ball knower 3350. I don't know if you want me to read that 3,350, but it's 3350. Your comment, the manager needs to look at himself on this one. Once he took Langonian door out, once he took out Langonian door, the game was over. Yeah, I can't agree more really there. Um, I wouldn't say the game was over necessarily, but took the wind out of the sails in my opinion. Getting
Yeah,
taking Dor and Luca out, especially Luca, uh, with him already having assists, not too keen on that. So I just the subs that were made were not good, and I talked about that a bit earlier. So yeah, not feeling terrific on that one. Um, bit of transfer news. It's not good news. It's not about any of the players, but Marko Mitrovic made comments earlier about uh Tennessee currently leads Virginia late. Keep an eye on that game. Uh,
mhm.
and he mentioned he was asked about bringing in a third DP, and in what I can remember, he didn't say too much about he he skated along the lines of yeah, no, not now, at least. Which it, after this game, I feel like we might want to change those comments and maybe
Yeah, definitely.
sign somebody. I don't know. And then to finish things off, we'll do it all in one segment. Um, some Revs guys got called up. Revs 2 guys got called up. So we'll check that out using the Blazing Muskets article for this one. So props to them. I got Matt Turner uh, to the U.S. to face Belgium and Portugal in friendlies. Leo Campana, who knows if this is still true, depending on the injury. We may know tomorrow about the severity. Uh, he was called up to face Morocco and uh, the Netherlands. Dor Turkman also gets called up to face Georgia for Israel. Uh, Ethan Kohler, Brooklyn Reigns, they get called up as a pair. They're going to go partake in the training camp with 2 friendlies. against Japan and against South Korea. So I'm a little surprised to see Ethan Coulter there, honestly.
Mhm.
There's some great US U21 prospects. Honestly, surprised to see him there. Brooklyn Reigns kind of makes sense up to yesterday. Um, you've also got moving down the line, Eric Klein for the US U20s. We have a lot of squads. Um,
Yeah.
just so many squads. He's facing with the US U20s, Argentina's U20s, and Club Atletico Independiente's reserve team. Good for them. Cristiano Oliveira returns to the international stage, for the U18s, where they're going to have a training camp, US U18s. Revs 2 defender Chris Mbai Assem returns as well. He'll go to the Central African Republic for their training camp. Yeah. And then Aryan Pravdati and Makai Wells both headed to the USU 17s. Again, so many squads
I know, dude. It's crazy.
for a training camp in Paraguay. Makai's had a good season for Revs too. And then we're not the only team to have representation, but we're a Revs podcast. We will get into that. So yeah, a disappointing week for the Revs, really. Uh, looks like we lose Campana to injury once more. So really not too keen on what we're looking at here. Um, and yeah, I'll kind of end it there. Um, Cam, you got anything else to add?
Nope.
All right. Well,
3
again,
points lost. Had it in the palm of our hands. Could have been 4-0 at halftime.
it really could have been, and it was not 4-0 after. No, love to see it. You'll love
Yeah,
to see it. It can't go on like this, can it?
it can. It's gonna.
It can. Oh, it can. But with that, make sure you're following us on X and Instagram, both of us at Foxboro Fortress on Twitter. Somebody just like donate me plus so I can like get an S in the username. Or what is it? Verified. And then at Foxborough's Fortress on Instagram. Uh, Cam, you got at CamB11 underscore on Twitter /X and at Cameron Benefit Journalism on Instagram. Make sure you're following on whatever platforms you're on. Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, whatever you're at. Make sure you're following so you don't miss another episode. If you want to be featured in the next episode, like Ball Knower 3350, make sure you're commenting. This jacket, you'll see a blurred photo of it. That's the bat signal for a leave your questions and comments below. Thanks, Leading Lights LLC, again for sponsoring this episode. I'm sounding really somber today, and rightfully so. Rightful, not working for me. Not working for me today.
You got it. Rightfully so.
There we go. I kept adding a T in there when it shouldn't be. Um, yeah, I, not a good week. Campana's injured again. I don't have good things to say because it was a bad game.
Yeah.
I didn't like watching it, so that's gonna do it. Again, next episode's coming at some point, probably Monday. But knowing us, things always change. If there's a guest, it probably comes later. But hey, we keep it moving. Revs, we'll see you. Revs fans, we'll see y'all in a few weeks now.
Yep.
See you next week to talk about Montreal, that match. That's gonna be an interesting one. We need points out of that one badly. So yeah, with that, once again, Cam, your line. This was
Foxboro's Fortress.